Have you ever looked around your cluttered apartment or stared at your sky-high utility bills and thought, there has to be a better way? I used to think the same thing until I discovered the world of off-grid tiny homes. But here's the thing. What I found wasn't just a housing solution. It was complete freedom. Imagine waking up to stunning mountain views without a mortgage hanging over your head. Picture harvesting vegetables from your garden while your solar panels quietly power your entire home. That's not a fantasy. It's the reality for thousands of people who've made the leap to off-grid tiny living. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how you can join them. But first, a warning. After watching this video, you might never look at your current living situation the same way again. The information I'm about to share has helped hundreds of people completely transform their lives, slash their expenses by up to 80%, and find a level of freedom and peace they never thought possible. So if you're ready to discover how you could be living mortgage-free within a year, keep watching. The off-grid tiny home movement isn't just growing, it's exploding, and for good reason. In a world where the average home now costs over $400,000 and utility rates climb every year, people are desperate for alternatives. But it's not just about saving money. Remember John and Sarah, the corporate power couple I interviewed last year? They traded their 3,000 square foot suburban home and 70-hour work weeks for a 400 square foot solar-powered cabin in the mountains. When I visited them 6 months later, Sarah told me something I'll never forget. For the first time in my adult life, I feel like I'm actually living rather than just existing. That sentiment echoes across virtually everyone I've spoken to who's made this transition. The appeal goes beyond just escaping crushing debt and soul-crushing commutes. There's something deeply satisfying about creating a home that exists in harmony with the natural world, rather than depleting it. Every time you flush a toilet using harvested rainwater or cook dinner with energy captured from the sun, you're experiencing a profound connection to your environment that most people have completely lost. And let's talk about the environmental impact. The average American household uses about 10,649 kilowatt hours of electricity annually. A well-designed off-grid tiny home, often less than 20% of that. When you combine reduced power consumption with sustainable water usage and minimal waste, the environmental footprint shrinks dramatically. Not to mention the reduced need for building materials in the first place, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Before you can live this dream, you need to plan your off-grid haven carefully. And the most crucial decision you'll make? Location. I've visited over 100 off-grid homesteads across North America, and I've seen incredible successes and a few heartbreaking failures. The difference almost always comes down to choosing the right location. You need to consider access to water, sun exposure, climate, soil quality, and building restrictions. Miss any of these factors, and you could be setting yourself up for a costly mistake. Take water, for instance. Last year, I met Derek in Arizona, who bought land without properly checking water availability. 6 months and $15,000 in drilling costs later, he still didn't have a reliable water source. Compare that to Maria in Oregon, who carefully researched her location and found property with a natural spring, saving herself thousands in infrastructure costs and ensuring long-term sustainability. Solar potential is another critical factor. Those picturesque wooded valleys might look stunning, but if your solar panels are in shade for half the day, you'll struggle to generate enough power. Using solar mapping tools before purchasing land can save you from this common mistake. Then there's the legal side of things, and this is where so many off-grid dreamers run into trouble. Did you know that in some counties, it's actually illegal to live in a home that's not connected to the municipal water system? Or that minimum square footage requirements can make tiny homes technically against code? I learned this the hard way when county officials showed up at my first build site. with a stop work order. Before you purchase land, you need to thoroughly research local zoning laws, building codes, minimum square footage requirements, and utility connection mandates. Some areas are incredibly friendly to off-grid tiny homes. Places like parts of Colorado, Missouri, and Texas have counties with minimal restrictions. Others might require you to jump through complicated regulatory hoops or make compromises like technically being on-grid while functionally living off-grid. One approach that's worked for many is finding property in areas with agricultural exemptions, which often have more relaxed building requirements. Another strategy is to build a small primary residence that meets all codes, then add outbuildings or alternative structures that fly under the regulatory radar. Now, let's talk about something everyone wants to know: the costs. How much does it really take to create an off-grid tiny home? The answer varies dramatically based on your approach, but I can give you some realistic ranges based on hundreds of real-world examples. Land costs are obviously location-dependent, but many successful off-gridders have found suitable rural property for $1,000, $5,000 per acre. For a tiny home, you'll likely want at least 2 to 5 acres for privacy and resource access, putting land costs between $2,000 and $25,000 for most situations. The tiny home itself can range from $5,000 for a DIY build using reclaimed materials to $80,000 for a high-end pre-built model. Most self-built tiny homes fall in the $15,000 to $30,000 range when using new materials. Remember that every square foot costs money, not just to build, but to heat, cool, and maintain. Which is why the tiny home approach is so economical in the long run. For off-grid systems, expect to invest $5,000 to $15,000 for a basic solar setup with battery storage, depending on your energy needs. Water systems typically run $2,000 to $7,000 for rainwater collection and filtration. Composting toilet systems can be built for a few $100s or purchased pre-made for around $1,000, $2,000. All told, most people can create a comfortable, sustainable off-grid tiny home for between $30,000 and $60,000 total, about the same as a down payment on a conventional house. The difference? When you're done, you own it outright. No mortgage, no utility bills, and minimal property taxes, but enough about planning. Let's talk about building your perfect tiny home. This is where the creativity really shines through. The most successful tiny homes I've seen share one critical characteristic. They're designed around the owner's specific lifestyle, not some generic template. Do you love to cook? Then perhaps you'll want to dedicate more space to a functional kitchen and less to a living area. Are you an avid reader? Built-in bookshelves and a cozy reading nook might be priorities for you. Ryan in Colorado built his tiny home around his passion for music, incorporating soundproofing and perfect acoustics in a compact 280 square foot space. Meanwhile, Lisa in Washington designed her tiny home with extra-large windows and a writing desk positioned to capture the perfect forest view for her work as an author. Multifunctional spaces are the secret weapon of tiny home design. Staircases that double as storage, tables that fold away when not in use, and furniture that serves multiple purposes can dramatically increase the functionality of small spaces. One of the cleverest designs I've seen used a Murphy bed that folded down over a couch, creating a bedroom at night and a living room during the day. Vertical space is your friend in tiny home design. Loft bedrooms, high shelving, and ceiling mounted. Storage can free up valuable floor space. Just remember that climbing ladders or stairs might become less appealing as you age, so consider your long-term needs when designing these elements. Now, let's talk about the heart of off-grid living, your energy systems. This is where many newcomers feel intimidated, but I promise it's simpler than you might think. Solar power has become the go-to energy solution for most off-grid homes, and for good reason. Panel prices have dropped by over 70% in the last decade, while efficiency has steadily improved. A basic setup includes solar panels, charge controllers, batteries for storage, and an inverter to convert DC power to AC for standard appliances. For a minimal tiny home setup, you might need as little as 800 watts of solar panels. For more comfort and modern conveniences, 1,500 to 3,000 watts is more realistic. The key is accurately calculating your expected energy usage before investing in a system. I've created a free energy calculator that thousands have used to size their systems. Check the link in the description below. Battery technology has also come a long way. While traditional lead-acid batteries are still the most affordable option, lithium iron phosphate batteries have become increasingly popular due to their longer lifespan and better performance. They cost more upfront, but typically last 3 to 4 times longer than lead-acid alternatives. Some off-grid homesteaders complement their solar with wind power, especially in areas with seasonal variations in sunlight. A small 400-watt wind turbine can provide crucial power during cloudy winter days when solar production drops. And let's not forget about heating. In colder climates, heating can be your biggest energy challenge. Wood stoves remain one of the most reliable and self-sufficient heating options, requiring no electricity and using a renewable resource that many can harvest from their own land. Propane is another popular option for cooking and heating, offering on-demand energy without electricity. But the most overlooked aspect of off-grid energy? Efficiency. Every watt you don't use is a watt you don't need to generate. LED lighting, Super-insulated building techniques, passive solar design, and energy-efficient appliances can reduce your energy needs by 50–80% compared to conventional homes. This means smaller, less expensive systems that require less maintenance. Water is your next major consideration. Without municipal connections, you need to become your own water utility company. Fortunately, there are multiple approaches that work well. Rainwater harvesting can provide abundant free water in many climates. A 1,000 square foot roof can collect approximately 600 gallons of water from just 1 inch of rainfall. With proper filtration and treatment, this can become your primary water source. I visited homes in the Pacific Northwest that haven't needed any water source beyond rainwater collection for years. Wells are the gold standard for reliability, but can be expensive to drill and require energy to pump. If you're lucky enough to have a property with a natural spring, you've hit the off-grid jackpot. Gravity-fed spring water requires minimal infrastructure and no energy to deliver clean water to your home. Whatever your water source, conservation becomes second nature in off-grid living. Low-flow fixtures, grey water recycling, and mindful usage can reduce water consumption by 50–80% compared to the average American household. For waste management, composting toilets have become the standard in off-grid homes. Modern designs are odorless, sanitary, and surprisingly normal to use. They also create valuable compost for non-food plants, completing a natural cycle. If you're squeamish about composting toilets, incinerating toilets are a higher-tech alternative, though they do require energy to operate. Grey water systems can redirect water from sinks, showers, and washing machines to irrigate non-edible plants, dramatically reducing water waste. These systems range from simple pipes directing water to garden areas, to more complex filtration setups that clean the water for reuse. So now you've got your tiny home built and systems installed. What's it actually like to live off-grid? The transition to off-grid living involves developing new skills and routines. You'll become more aware of weather patterns as they directly impact your power generation. You'll develop a deeper understanding of your water and energy usage. And you'll likely find yourself naturally shifting to live more in rhythm with daylight hours. Growing food becomes not just a hobby, but an integral part of your lifestyle. Even a small garden can produce a surprising amount of fresh produce. I've seen 400 square foot gardens produce over 600 pounds of vegetables in a single season, with proper planning and care. Perennial food plants like fruit trees, berry bushes, and herbs can provide years of harvests with minimal maintenance after initial establishment. Food preservation skills like canning, dehydrating, and fermenting let you extend your harvest through leaner months. A well-stocked pantry of home-preserved foods provides security and satisfaction that's hard to describe until you've experienced it. Many off-gridders also incorporate small livestock into their systems. Chickens are the gateway animal for many, providing eggs, pest control, and fertilizer in a small space. Rabbits, quail, and honeybees are other popular options that can thrive in limited areas while contributing to your self-sufficiency. One of the biggest misconceptions about off-grid living is that it means isolation. In reality, most successful off-gridders build strong community connections. Skill sharing, work parties, and resource exchanges create interdependence that makes everyone more resilient. The old barn-raising tradition lives on in off-grid communities, where neighbors help each other with big projects like installing solar arrays or building outbuildings. Technology has also made remote living less isolating than ever before. Satellite internet has become more affordable and reliable, allowing many to work remotely from their off-grid paradise. Mobile hotspots and boosters can turn weak cell signals into usable connections. I've interviewed software developers, graphic designers, writers, and consultants who maintain thriving careers from their off-grid homes. I won't sugarcoat it though. There are challenges to this lifestyle. Equipment breaks, weather doesn't. Always cooperate. And sometimes you'll need to make comfort compromises that wouldn't be necessary in a conventional home. During my first winter off-grid, an unexpected week of cloudy weather depleted my undersized battery bank, leading to some cold, flashlight-lit evenings until the sun returned. Power management becomes a constant awareness. You'll check battery levels like others check their phone notifications. You'll develop an intuitive sense of how much energy different appliances use and adjust your activities accordingly. If the batteries are low, perhaps the blender stays in the cabinet and you have a sandwich instead of a smoothie. Seasonal adjustments become part of life. Winter means more indoor time, less solar production, and more heating needs. Summer brings abundance, but also potential water conservation challenges in dry areas. These rhythms connect you to natural cycles in a way that most modern humans have lost, but these challenges come with profound rewards. There's a deep satisfaction in directly providing for your own needs. Harvesting vegetables you've grown, showering in water you've collected, and powering your laptop with sunshine. Problems become puzzles to solve rather than frustrations to endure. And there's an unmistakable peace that comes from knowing that you're largely insulated from utility outages, rate hikes, and the fragility of modern supply chains. Let me share a few quick stories to bring this lifestyle to life. Remember Emily and Jason from Vermont? They built their off-grid tiny home for $23,000 using mostly reclaimed materials. Their 280 square foot timber frame cottage is powered by 1,200 watts of solar with a small wind turbine for winter backup. They collect rainwater from their metal roof and supplement with a gravity-fed spring on their property. 5 years in, they've cut their annual living expenses from $48,000 to under $15,000, allowing them to work part-time jobs they love rather than careers that drain them. Or consider Miguel in New Mexico, who turned a used school bus into a stunning off-grid home for less than $30,000, including 2 acres of land. His solar oven handles most cooking during sunny months, while a tiny wood stove keeps the well-insulated space cozy in winter. His water comes from rainwater collection, filtered through a multi-stage system, and his small gardens are thriving thanks to grey-water irrigation and careful desert gardening techniques. One of my favorite examples is the Williams family in Tennessee. They moved their family of 5 into an 800-square-foot off-grid cabin they built themselves. Their hybrid system of solar and micro-hydropower from a small creek provides abundant electricity year-round. Their children are growing up with both modern technology and traditional skills, equally comfortable programming computers and foraging for wild edibles. When I asked their teenage daughter if she missed their former suburban life, she looked genuinely confused by the question. If you're feeling inspired and want to explore this lifestyle further, there are fantastic resources available. Websites like Solar Power World, Tiny House Blog, and Homesteady offer free guides and case studies. Books like The Backyard Homestead by Carleen Madigan and Off-Grid Life by Foster Huntington provide detailed guidance and inspiration. YouTube channels like Living Big in a Tiny House and Exploring Alternatives showcase real off-grid tiny homes around the world. Organizations like the American Tiny House Association can help navigate regulatory issues, while the Small House Society connects like-minded individuals. Local permaculture groups and sustainability organizations often offer workshops on specific skills needed for off-grid living. As you explore this path, remember that off-grid living isn't an all-or-nothing proposition. Many people start with small steps. Perhaps a weekend tiny cabin that gradually transitions to full-time living, or a conventional home that slowly adds off-grid systems one by one. Your journey doesn't have to look like anyone else's. The most important resource, though, is connecting with others who are living this dream. Nothing beats first-hand experience and advice from those who've already walked this path. If you've already taken steps toward off-grid tiny living, share your experience in the comments below. What worked? What would you do differently? Your insights could be exactly what someone else needs to hear. And if you're just beginning to explore this possibility, drop your biggest questions in the comments. This community is incredibly generous with knowledge sharing, and you might be surprised at the helpful responses you'll receive. Off-grid. Tiny living isn't just a housing choice, it's a path to freedom, resilience, and deeper connection with the natural world. Whether you're seeking financial independence, environmental sustainability, or simply a more meaningful way of living, this path offers possibilities that conventional housing can't match. I hope this guide has given you a realistic look at both the challenges and rewards of this lifestyle. If even one person watching takes a step toward creating their own off-grid haven after seeing this video, I'll consider it a success. Because each tiny home represents not just a sustainable dwelling, but a vote for a different way of living. One that prioritizes freedom, sufficiency, and harmony with the natural world. So what do you think? Could off-grid tiny living be in your future? Let me know in the comments, and if you found this guide helpful, please give it a like and share it with someone who might be dreaming of a similar path. Until next time, this is Your Name, wishing you success on whatever path you choose.